Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Rebecca. And this movie came out in 2020, and it's on Netflix. And I guess in ways it's a remake, but also just kind of like a different adaptation of the original book, which I've never read. But I have seen the Alfred Hitchcock 1940 version, and this one I really love and would highly recommend you check it out. And this one I thought was just the complete inverse from memory of the Hitchcock film. There was basically nothing that I really liked outside of just me being entertained by how dumb and annoying a lot of things were going on, and just fully missing the point of what made everything work so well in the original. None of the characters in this movie are likable or just characters that I can get behind and really root for or feel any sort of emotions other than frustration as to why are you doing this? This doesn't make sense, and it's mostly just how you presented it that's kind of bugging me. There were lots of choppy editing choices in this movie that was really distracting for me. And there was nothing about this movie's visual presentation that really stood out to me. Like, I like some of the set design, but that's about it. Like, it looks like it's in the 30s from a production standpoint, but not much else is really there for me in terms of what I take away from it. And this movie is directed by Ben Wheatley, if I pronounced that correctly. And this is the same director who did Free Fire and Meg 2 The Trench. Those are the only two movies that I've seen from him outside of this. And I will say Free Fire is probably his best movie, and it's not even great. And Meg 2 The Trench, that was pretty bad. I would probably rewatch the Meg 2 over this, honestly, because this one just, in ways, kind of just upset me with it having nothing to offer. And also just completely missing the point. Like, that's mostly what I was taking away from this movie is like, okay, I'm kind of comparing this movie a lot to the Hitchcock movie, but it's impossible not to because A, it just does so many things right, and B, they're connected. There's no way you can't talk about both movies. I guess the only people who can't compare them are the ones who haven't seen the Hitchcock film. But I also want to point out that I don't really understand why this movie had to be remade or retold or had a new adaptation for a new generation of people. Outside of that, just like introduce the new story to a younger audience. Because the original film, pretty much everyone knows it. And it's a film that won Best Picture at the Oscars at the time. And it's directed by someone who people know who he is, Alfred Hitchcock. Like, the average person, even if they're not a movie buff or just an average person, they will probably have heard the name Alfred Hitchcock before. And this movie basically skips over a lot of interesting things that could be developed in a new adaptation. Like the romance towards the beginning was completely glossed over, and I never really got a sense of what the two main leads liked about each other. I don't remember how it was done in the original Hitchcock movie. Maybe it would have been similar, but I would need to get back to you on that one. But from memory, I don't remember it being so glossed over to the point where I was so confused as to what these two people like about each other. And I think the point of it isn't necessarily to get a full understanding of their relationship. It's more to just establish these two are falling in love with one another, and it's just used as a tool to tell a story that is later going to be developed. But I feel as though this movie just didn't really do a very good job at getting you to understand what these characters do like about each other or really know about each other. Like, I don't really feel as though the characters were developed all too well in this film, outside of the most surface level things. I wasn't impressed by any of the performances in this movie, and one of my major letdowns in this movie was the maid character, who was such a great character in the Hitchcock film, but in this movie, she's trying, but she's not really given much, and I never once felt as though she was intimidating or had any screen presence. Like, whenever she showed up, it just feels like, oh, another character is on screen, and we're going to see what this character is doing or talking about, and that's about all there is. And in the original, like, her just being on screen brought, like, a commanding screen presence that you can't take your eyes off of. There were also some dream sequences in this movie. Like, every time we got them, I was more or less confused as to what was going on there. And it almost felt like they were going for like a fantasy movie almost, or just like a horror movie, possibly, with how it was presented. I was like, what are we doing here? And it doesn't really add anything. If you took out those dream sequences, you wouldn't be lost at all in terms of like how things are being presented and just what a character is thinking or feeling. Like, they just feel pointless by the end of the day. There was a lot of forced drama in this movie. There were plenty of obvious setups and payoffs that were very unsatisfying. And sure, one thing that you could mention about the Hitchcock movie is that there was, at the very least, one obvious setup, and you could see where the payoff was going to go. But in terms of how it was executed in that movie, I felt as though it was just so much better in terms of what they were setting up. And when we actually got a payoff, it was like, oh, that's probably the best way you could have handled it. Whereas this movie, it just feels thrown together, and you know exactly where things are going. And there's nothing about this one's presentation that really grabs you in or makes you feel as though that's a well done thing in this movie. There's none of that. The courtroom scenes were very cheesy. I didn't care for those scenes at all, and in the original, I remember them being kind of brief. I could be wrong about that, but I do remember them being much better handled in that film as opposed to this movie. And the only thing that I kind of liked about this movie was one single editing choice that stood out as, oh, that's something that adds to the film, and it involves Mrs. De Winter's character, her coat being buttoned up, and it's like it transitions, and like is kind of using that to show, yeah, this type of information should be covered up and like never seen the light of day, like the truth, because if that happens, bad things will happen. I was like, oh, that involves some planning. Like, that was the best editing choice in the whole movie. And the rest of the movie has nothing like that. And that's about all I have to say about Rebecca 2020. It was kind of funny. I haven't really talked about the funny bad aspects of this movie. And it was mostly just me just laughing at stupid things here and there. It wasn't consistently funny throughout. There were some parts of it where I wasn't laughing at all and more just being frustrated as to, why are you doing this? But definitely not a boring film, at least from memory. So skip this movie if you ever come across it. If you like funny bad movies or you just want to watch a train wreck, then go right ahead. But don't be surprised if you take away nothing from it. So with all that being said, I'm going to give Rebecca from 2020 a 1 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos. As always, if you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of Rebecca from 2020, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Play Dirty. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.